Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello guys, hello everyone. How are you guys? I hope you keep healthy and stay at home. We are from 7 group of English Education Department for A, and we are going to present about grouping students. And for the first materials will be presented by me, Alyaa Hilmianti, and for the second materials will be presented by Andika Khoirul kamil, and the third materials will be presented by Aneu Nurbayani. Okay guys, let's go to the first materials. Okay, first, different groups. In different groups, there are limited ways of group students in order to work together, and these are include a whole class grouping, getting students to work on their own, or having them perform tasks in pairs or group. And all have their own advantages and disadvantages, and each is more or less appropriate for different activities. For the first is whole class teaching. It is the practice of students sitting in rows is still very common in many cultures, and adventures is there are it reinforces a sense of belongings and suitable for teacher controlled activities and a general understandings of students progress, and the last is provides these adventures. It favors the group, not too much opportunity for individual speaking, and second, students may fear public failure, and third, teachers to students incline, not too much student self-discovery, and the last, the disadvantages is not optimum for communicative language teaching. Okay, sitting whole group classes, there are orderly rows. In this activity is a big classes, and it is most common with clear view and eye contact, good for grammar or PowerPoint presentation, and there are circle, and it's very common too for more 20 students, and can create feeling of equality, and it more intimate and individual can sharing optimum, and there are horseshoe like this, and in these activities teacher at open end for access to materials, and it less feeling of equality and less dominating. Separate tables, it is optimum for group work and rotate students for diversity, and you can choose one that fits the students and lesson or tasks. Next, the second is students on their own. In these activities, we can promote a pattern of individual learning. Students work by themselves in self-access centers, one by one, with a teacher or out-of-class environment. And the advantages of these activities is there are teachers can respond to individual differences, and optimum for developing learner autonomy, and it less stressful for students, and last, it may avoid noisy and undisciplined classroom. And for the disadvantages, uh, cooperation is not encouraged by this pattern, and no optimum for a sense of belonging, and it involves much more preparation than whole class teaching, and then it takes uh, it takes uh, it takes not more time than a whole class grouping. The third is there are pair work. In pair work, it is optimum for practicing studying a text, information gap, dialogue, and predicting activities. And there are advantages and disadvantages of these activities. The advantages are greatly increases speaking time, can be organized quickly and easily, and then it develops learner independence, and we are also said two hats are better than one, and teacher able to give more attention to individual pairs. The disadvantages are sometimes noisy with possibility of loss of teacher control, and then misbehavior opportunities are greater than with whole class arrangement, and then not not so popular with students who look up to the teacher as the instructor. And then last is partner choice may be problematic due to personality classes.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Andika and I will continue the material. Working with others gives students the opportunity to interact with a variety of people and learn from one another. It also encourages cooperation, which will help students get along in class and could reduce the number of student outbursts too. Pair work. Pair work is great for practicing model dialogues, playing games such as battleship, conducting vocabulary checks, and completing worksheets. Working in pairs gives individual students a lot of speaking time. If working together, children will often have more confidence than when completing exercises individually. If students are completing with their partner, they will be more motivated. And in any method, there must be disadvantages. And for paperwork is frequently very noisy. And second, some students prefer to relate with the teacher rather than with other learner who have the same linguistic skill. And then next, group work. We can put students in large groups to since this will allow them to arrange of tasks for which paperwork is not sufficient or appropriate. The students can write a group story or role-play a situation which involve 5 or more people. They can prepare a presentation or discuss an issue and come to a group decision. Advantage of group work. Like pair work, it dramatically increases the number of talking opportunities for individual students. And second, unlike pair work, because there are more than two people in group, personal relationships are usually less problematic. There is also a greater chance of different opinions and varied contribution than in pair work. And there is disadvantage for group work method. Individual may fall into group roles that become fossilized, so that some are passive whereas others may dominate, and can take longer to organize than pairs. And then organizing pair work and group work, ensuring that pair and group activities work well will be easier if we have a clear idea about how to resolve any problems that might occur. First, to making it work, because some students are unused for working in pairs and groups, or because they may have mixed feelings about working with a partner, or about not having the teacher attention at all times. It may be necessary to invest some time in discussion of learning routines. Uh, and then uh, here are some details to take into consideration when using pairs or group work in English language classroom. Uh, First, know your reasons for using pairs or group method. Not all types of work are appropriate for pairs and groups. So never have students work in groups on an activity simply for the sake of working in groups. There should be clear benefit and value to collaboration for the particular activity. Your student will also be more keen on working with others if you share this uh, reasoning with them too. Okay, and the second one, demonstrate the activity first. uh, no matter how advanced your learner are, always demonstrate what you expect, either alone or with the help of one of your learners. This will help the activity run smoothly, and there will also then be less room for any kind of misunderstanding. And the third, give a clear time limit. After you've shown what you expect of your learners, it's also important to set a clear time limit. Make it a bit challenging to force collaboration and to keep students on task. If your students have a really easy task, plus the knowledge from multiple heads put together, the time won't be well spent. That's why a bit of challenging time limit can really help. 4. Have a method in place for volume control. To avoid a classroom where it's too noisy to concentrate, make a silent signal before starting. This could be a simple hand signal like a timeout or flickering of the light, which you can use to indicate they need to bring the volume down a few notches. And next, assign a language monitor per group. In monolingual classes, it can also be a challenge to keep your learners speaking English and not slipping into their mother tongue. To make your students aware of how much of their mother tongue they're speaking, have the monitor stand up every time they hear a non-English word spoken. The more your monitors have to stand, the more obvious it will be to your class. At 6, uh, start with a quick icebreaker. To get students more comfortable working together, start group or pair work with a very brief icebreaker. Remembering to include this small step can have a huge effect on how well groups or partner work together. Uh, Here are a few ideas for very simple short icebreaker. Uh, like answering a funny question like that, Then next, prepare filler activities for early finisher. Sometimes these tasks can go more quickly than you planned, depending on your class and the given topics. To avoid getting caught with early finisher, always have a few filler activities or a plan B uh, activities or a plan B on hand for these groups. But a good activity for students who finish their work early and in general for your classroom. Okay, maybe that's all for me. Uh, Assalamualaikum.
This occasion, I will explain about organizing group pairs and group work. Pairs and group work will not success if we don't have a clear idea about how to resolve problem that might occur during the activity. There are some stages that we might follow to conduct or to form pairs and group activity. The first is making it work. Sometimes students unused to work in pair or in group because they feel that they will get less attention from the teacher because teachers attention must be divided into a number of students that they're in a group, so they have mixed feelings such as shy, lazy, and then afraid, and etc. So because of this, teacher can make a discussion with student by asking them to write about how they feel after doing a pair and group activity, or teacher can initiate a discussion uh, with student about the use of pair and group work, and then teacher also uh, what can ask student to continue the sentence such as I like or don't to work on my own because blah 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 blah. I like or don't work in pairs because blah 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 blah. And then after knowing the result, then teacher can decide uh, what change, what change of method, if any, to make. And then even if student seems like they don't like to work in pair or in group, teacher can still apply this method by providing a clear demonstration, a clear instruction about pair and group work, because sometimes students are lazy to work in pair or in group because they have no clear demonstration or explanation, and then we can also do bargaining with student. And the next stage is creating pairs and group. There are some principle that we might follow to uh, to create pairs and group work. The first is friendship. In friendship, uh, we can create pairs and group through friendship by uh, observating students, each one of student relationship. Isn't it a good relationship or bad relationship? uh, but not all our observation are true because sometimes relationship can change quickly. And then the next is we can let student decide with whom they are going to work with. But if we let student to do this, it can be chaotic and may exclude unpopular student altogether, so that they can stand on their own to do the task. And then we can also use sociogram. um eh use sociogram like this. But using sociogram, it is time consuming, and what it is fail to answer what to do with unpopular student. And then the next principle is streaming. Streaming is grouping student based on their ability. uh, we can we can mix between strong student and weak student into one group, so that strong student will get a better understanding of a material that they have, and then the weak student will get benefit that they can understand the material. And then we can also put student in pairs or in group based on their level. Example, strong student with strong student, and then weak student uh, with weak student. But using this method, a teacher can pay attention more to the weaker to the weak student, but it can bring a jealousy to strong student, because they also want to get the same attention from the teacher. And then cooperative or helping each other might be loose. And then we can also put them based on basis participation. We can put them such as strong participator with strong participator, and weak participator with the same participator. uh, it is If we do this, weak participator will not have a reason to avoid or to not involve in the activity, because they have to involve, because all all the members in the group is weak student and they have to speak up. And then the next uh, principle is change. It is the easiest way, since it demands on pre-planning, and then it stresses the cooperative nature working together. We can make group and pairs based on student whom based on student sitting place, uh, whom whom they are sitting close to. uh, yeah, but it can make a boredom if a are student sits in the same place like forever. And then we can uh, use wheel scenario, and then we can put them by the the name letter, such as A until B, or etc., according to the number of students in a classroom. And then we can put them based on their birthday, such as months or dates, or years, and etc. And we can also make group or pairs according to the color of clothes they are wearing. And then the last principle is changing group. Example, if in a classroom there are two groups, and then we can divide it into several groups. And then the next stage is procedure for pair works and group works. In this stage, there are it it has its own stages. In before stages, we need to make student feel enthusiastic about what they are going to do, and then we need to make student understand what they are going to do. And then we need to set limitation time to do the task. And then during the activity, uh, we must sit in front of, on beside, or behind, and keep on our eyes watching what's happening, and then go around watching and listening to specific pairs of group. If in discussion, we can correct them. Example, if they have mispronunciation. And then we it is when during the group and pair work, it is a good time to uh, uh, for teacher to be an observer. And then up in the after stage, we need to make uh, feedback. And then if necessary, we make assessment, and then we give conclusion. And then the next stage is troubleshooting. um uh there are two problems that might occur during the pair and group work. The first is finishing work. Uh, uh, because we are doing in group and pair work. Of course, there are some groups that finish earlier, and then it can make a problem. To handle this, we can say to them, to whom finish first, say, you can relax a little bit while waiting for the others. And then we can also, if we see one group has finished the task, and then we can stop the activity for whole classroom to avoid boredom. And then, but it it might demotivating for student who struggle, who give a best hard effort to do the task. And then what we can give a short little task to whom finish earlier, but usually student don't like to do another task. And then we can also, even if we have set limitation time, but we can still observe the whole classroom. If they seems like finish, a lot of groups finish the task, and or near to finish the task, and then we can stop the activity. So the second problem is awake work groups. Even if we have made the best judgment and put them in group and pairs, but student might find difficulty, and then hard to concentrate, unpleasant, differ the oldest, differ men in female group, and what the introvert groups will not fully involved in the activity, because they will be dominated by the extrovert one. To handle this, we can what change the group. We can put all the highest put all highest figures in one group, such as strong student with strong student, weak student, strong student with strong student. And to avoid the differentiation between student. And then the last is we can streaming group in other way to recognize them, so that all group members can gain the best from the activity. That's all. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.